What is it like being a Nigerian living in Korea? Hi, my name is Kcee Udonsi Jr., your host of Nigerians to the World. And today we have Adaoma Onwukaeme, a Nigerian living in Korea. Hi, Adaoma, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening from here. Good evening.
Oh, wow. And it's morning here in Nigeria. How is everything going around there?
Everything is going on beautifully well. Everything is fine.
Okay, so we'll kick this off with the first question. Which part of Nigeria are you from?
Okay, I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria. I'm from Imo State, to be precise.
Wow.
And but I'm one of those people you would call, my mama say I be Igbo. I was born and bred in Lagos. Yes, oh, Lagos wow. State. So, but I'm from Imo State, Nigeria.
Okay, so one interesting fact also about me is that I was born in Imo State, in Owerri to be precise, it's the capital. So, but my parents moved when I was still a toddler, so I did not experience the Imo light view. And then also, that means you've not been to the east or what?
No. Of course, I've been to the east. I've been to the east.
Okay, so to our listeners, Lagos State is one of the most populous cities in Africa. It is dubbed the New York of Africa. So how was the experience growing up in Lagos?
Oh my God, it's pleasant. And I used to say that there's no other place I can live aside Lagos, because for me, Lagos is everything.
Okay.
Lagos is everything, yeah. It's a mixture of different tribes, so different people. It's heterogeneous. It's a heterogeneous community. So I love living in Lagos.
Sure. That is true. You will have many people there. It still has more than 22 million people. I've been there several times, and when you see the human traffic there, it's too much. It's too much.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's talk about your story. How did you end up in Korea?
Well, I say love brought me to Korea.
Wow.
I've always wanted to live abroad, actually, but I never for once thought I would end up in Asia. Asia was never a part of mine. I never thought about it. So, but in 2018, I got married, and my husband was before then living in Korea. He was studying for his master's, and he was to continue for his PhD. And being newlyweds, we're like, it's not going to be just wedded, and he was living miles apart. And just if it was just miles apart to be good, but 8 hours difference. So when he's waking, I'm sleeping. When he's sleeping, no, we can't. It's stressful, because even during our courtship period, it was a stressful one. The long hours difference was very stressful. So we did not want to go through that again. And being that we're new couples, wanted to take time to learn each other. So he moved back to South Korea, and after some months, I had to join him. Yeah, so that's how I came to South Korea.
So love took you to Korea.
Yes, it did.
That is a beautiful story coming from you. Many people have crossed over because of many things, and your own because of love and family. I know, we understand as Nigerians, family is so important aspect of our lives. That is very, very true. But I missed the question before this. Okay, so can you please tell us the school you attended in Nigeria, the elementary school and high school?
Okay, yes. So since I was born in Lagos, my elementary, my high school were all in Lagos State. So I attended Nigerian Navy primary school, Nigerian Navy secondary school. So I'm a Navy girl. And if there was a Nigerian Navy university, I would have attended to. But I went to Futo, Owerri, my university.
Okay.
Yes, my first degree was in Owerri, and my master's, I came back to the West. I went to the Federal University of Agriculture at Abeokuta for my master's program.
Okay. So now, let's talk about the people of Korea. What do you love about them?
It's a very difficult question to answer. Because if you ask me, what do I love about living in Korea, I can tell you lots. Okay. But what do I love about the people, the Korean people? Well, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. Okay. One thing I would say I love about them is that they, how do I explain this now? Now, when they, I don't know how to explain it, but let me use this scenario. Okay. You know, in Nigeria, when you go to an office, you want to get something done, they linger and linger. But in Korea, there's this pali culture. They call it fast. So everybody knows what they're supposed to do and they do it. That's one thing I like about the Korean people. Wow. I'm in this office and I'm supposed to give out this duty, I'm supposed to do this thing. They stay there and they do it. That's just the one thing I love about the Korean people. Yeah.
That is great. That is great. That means everyone who works in any corporate organization understands his responsibility and carries it out. That is amazing. Okay, so now you've talked about what you love about them. Now, what do you love about Korea?
Okay, before I came to Korea, like I said, I was, I think because I was just naive about Korea, I didn't make any research and I just came. It was kind of difficult, but along the line, I got to love some things about living in Korea. And one thing I like is the transportation system. It works. Like, you got, okay, because Korea is a small country, you know, very small. Let's say, let me even say Lagos is a little bit bigger than Korea. That's how small Korea is. Yeah, it's a very small country. And then again, it's divided, you know, north and south. So it's a very small country. So there is transportation. Anywhere you want to go in Korea, either a bus or the subway or the train, something will take you there. That's one thing I love about living in Korea. And another thing is shipping and delivery. You can just come back from work today and you're so tired and maybe you don't have anything to eat. Just go on this app called Coupang and then you order whatever you want. By 6 a.m. the next morning, it's by your doorstep waiting for you. That's how fast. That's one beautiful thing. On Monday, was it Monday or Sunday? I don't know, somehow I damaged my laptop charger. So I've not been able to work with my laptop charger. I ordered for it. I just got it on Wednesday. You know, I got it today. That's to tell you how fast things are. Shipping, or sometimes you could just be hungry right now and you want to eat. You just order. In the next 30 minutes, your food is here with you.
Wow.
So those are the two major things I love about living in Korea. Yeah.
That is amazing. That means Korea is a fast country. That means
very fast.
If you have to live there, you also need to be fast to catch up with them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So okay, now let's also talk about your biggest adjustment. You know, living in Korea. What is your biggest adjustment?
My biggest adjustment living in Korea, you know, coming from Nigeria, you know, Nigeria is a kind of, let me use the word family kind of country. You could be in your house, maybe the day 1 day, so you don't come out. But by day 3, someone will bang on your door and tell you, "Okay, I never see you, but where you take?" You know, people care about each other. So one thing I had to adjust is like, I'm here alone, just me and my husband. I don't know anybody. It was difficult for me to adjust because I was used to, maybe you're going to the market and you just stop by and remember a friend lives by that market. You just go, Neka, I know your side though. You there, I can't see you. You know, you just branch and go to the person's house. But here, no, you cannot do that. Even with fellow Nigerians, you can't. You have to call. Are you home? Can you receive visitors? If you can't, oh no, I can't. And then you just stay in your house. So it was a little bit difficult for me to adjust, but I'm adjusting pretty well. And another thing that was difficult for me, I'm still adjusting the weather. Most times they say, "Oh, you're from Africa, you should be used to it." I say I'm from Africa, but we're not. It's not humid. Even if it's hot, breeze going to blow you for Nigeria somehow. But here it's hot. The air is hot. You're breathing in hot air. Everything is hot. And then when it's cold, my God, it's chilly. Like you feel like there are ants biting you. So I'm still getting. I don't think I will adjust to the weather, but I'm still trying to adjust to the weather. Yes, that's two things I'm trying to adjust to.
Okay, but one thing also we know is that Nigeria will carry last.
Exactly, they carry last.
Yeah. So now you just mentioned something about you know, getting to know your neighbors and also, you know, visiting people. Do you think that has something to do with their customs or culture?
Yeah. Korea has, their culture is mind your business.
Okay.
And it's still very difficult for me because sometimes I'll be on the way going and someone may trip and fall. Everybody walks by. Nobody stops to say, what happened? You know, very few Koreans, and the few Koreans that do that are maybe those who are exposed and those who have traveled and lived outside of Korea. But majority of Koreans will just leave the person. You know, sometimes even in the subway, someone could just fall down. And everybody would like, you know, this Nigeria, all of you will form like a cushion for the person to hold the person from falling. But here everybody just like fall down, fall, you know? So it's, I think it's part of their culture. It's part of who they are. Right?
Okay. That would be the weird part of their custom or culture. You know, yeah, you know, in every country there are so many weird customs or cultures. Okay, so that could be part of their own weird culture. So let's also come back to your Niger aspect, your Nigerian aspect. What are some of their responses, or how do they react when they discover that you are Nigerian?
Oh, first, when they just see you passing, they look at Miguk Saram. They ask you if you're from America. Like, no, no. Like, where? Like, Nigeria. Nigeria? They're like thinking, where's Nigeria? I'm like, Nigeria. Oh, Nigeria. Soccer. You mean soccer. That's what they know us from. They begin to ask you, those who are soccer fans will start asking you of names, and me, that I'm not a soccer person. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? Like, okay. I just smile like, no, I don't know anybody. I don't know. So when you see you're Nigeria, they automatically believe that soccer, you should know, everything about soccer. Yeah, that's one thing. And then number two, they're surprised. I was in the bus one day and I was like, I like reading just to while away time. And the man looked, he just saw that I was reading in English. And I looked at me, I'm like, where are you from? Nigeria. And he was surprised, like, Nigeria, you speak English? I'm like, yes, we speak English in Nigeria. We have more than 500 languages in Nigeria. So for us to communicate to each other, we need one. So it's English. And they're surprised and they're amazed, like, wow, you know English? It's something of joy for them. Wow. And then they'll be like, that means you speak more than one language. I say, yes, I speak English. I speak Pidgin English. I speak Yoruba. I speak Igbo. They'll be like, wow. So all Nigerians learn more than one. And of course, all Nigerians learn more than one. And that's what it's so amazing for them that Nigerians have to learn more than one language. So it's and they're surprised that we could speak in English. I'm like, yeah, we can speak English.
It's funny sometimes to see that many people who are not of Nigerian descent have some kind of perspective about Nigeria. Yeah. They don't believe that some of the things that we can do, that we do them. Okay. And also, they ask you about soccer. So one thing also they also need to know is that we are the giant of Africa. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you are married there. Okay, so
yeah.
What is it like raising children in Korea?
I must confess to you, it's very difficult.
Wow.
Number one, you have to think about the future of your children. Because Korea is a homogeneous country, they speak just one language, Korean.
Okay.
They speak in Korean. And so every institution speaks Korean. So your child, you give birth to your child, you want your child to go to school. The child, because where we are from, all of us, we speak English.
Yes.
Even in school, even if you go to the East, even though they speak Igbo, they teach in Yoruba, in Ibibio, they speak a bit of English, but here it's purely Korean. So you are afraid for your child that, are you going to be speaking Korean all your life? You never get to learn, at least even if it's English, because even if Korea, English is one of the languages that the whole other world speak. So yes. That's one thing about raising children, the future of your child. And number two, because I am an educator, I believe that for a child to grow, you need people around, you need friends to play with. You don't just wake up and just stay at home. But most of our children here are glued to our phones because no friends to play with. I remember growing up, we play with sand, you go to your neighbor, but there's nothing like that here. So thinking about it's really very difficult, especially it's difficult to raise children here. And then the living expenses for raising children, the cost of living. And if you want your child to go to an international school, of course, that is a whole lot of money, because that's the only place where they can learn to speak in English, where they can meet children who are foreigners. Because in Korea, we have expats from UK, expat from Nigeria, expat from US. Those ones speak in English. So you can meet, the children can mingle and, see people who look like them and speak like them. So, but it's very expensive to send your children to those kind of schools. So having a family here is really, really difficult. It is.
That is really, really difficult. Growing up here in Nigeria, we are used to, living in the hood with our friends, and then also growing up with them. That is the only way you can know who your neighbor is, and then also know them. Even as you grow, you also grow with them. It's also interesting to learn something different that happens in Korea. Okay, now you talked about other expats. Okay, so how diverse is the population of Korea? How diverse is it?
I would say that it's 99% Korean and 1% foreigner. And out of the 1% foreigner, the majority of the foreigners are Americans.
Wow.
Korea is, I don't know how to put it. I don't want to sound offensive in case some Koreans get to listen to this.
Okay.
They kind of worship America, everything America. So it's like America is their God. Oh. So, when we grew up in Nigeria, and we're taught the British way of writing, of pronouncing words, of how that we're used to the British system. So even you that I take myself as a natural English speaker. So when I speak, I pronounce some words or I write some words. I see Koreans correcting me, and they correct me with the American English. I'm like, God, I went to school for more than 8 years. All my life is English, so you cannot be teaching me the English I know. So the American savvy. That's one thing. American savvy. The majority of the experts are Americans. So. And because they want to learn the English language, so many Americans come to teach. Many people from the UK come to teach. So there are, I think, 7 countries or 8 countries that are allowed to teach the English language, of which Nigeria is not part of them. The only African country is South Africa. Okay.
So that means the circle of expatriates in Korea is small. Small. So now let's also talk about the food. Okay. So how diverse? Let's talk about the food in Korea. How diverse is the food? The Korean food, how diverse is it? And what recipe of food would you recommend to someone? Korean food.
Okay. Korean foods are not diverse. So Korean food is Korean food. Authentic Korean food is Korean food. They don't like us when you want to eat amala and egusi, Instead of eating amala and eating amala and egusi, they are kind of that. It's like that. Korean food is Korean food. So, and they have Western food, they have Indian food, they have Thailand food. So there's no mixture in Korean food. I like Korean food, but the thing about Korean food is that every food has garlic. So yeah. So even after eating it, you still
be feeling it.
The garlic stays in your mouth. That's why most times they brush their teeth immediately after eating. So the food I would recommend, I'm a meat lover. So I love galbitan. Galbitan is like soup broth. I just want to explain it now. It's meat. It's made of pork meat, but the bone, it has bone and meat and soup. So you eat it with soup. Now, when I mean soup, please don't think of our soup. Our soup is different. Just think of water, liquid with little vegetable. That's the soup. So you just drink it with the rice, and then there's a side dish.
That is pepper soup now.
Oh, pepper soup is even thicker. Pepper soup is thicker.
Oh,
They just
really?
yes, water with vegetables. That's how that is soup. I think we're the ones that have a funny way of calling our soup because everybody else I've seen is just water.
Okay. Now, let's talk about now. You eat their food. Are there some Afro shops there, or like Nigerian stores over there? Are there some Afro shops in Korea?
Yeah, there are. I live in Incheon, so it's far. It's a little bit far from the capital. So Seoul is where things happen. So in Seoul, we have a Nigerian. So they call it African, but it's a Nigerian restaurant. I went there recently. Funny enough, so they have lots of Nigerian food: jollof rice, fried rice, vegetable soup, egusi soup. So they have, I think, just one or two restaurants, a Nigerian restaurant in Seoul, and then they have this African shop, but it's a Korean that runs the African shop. Though we call it a Nigerian shop because the produce they are basically, I'm like, I go in there, I see things I see, I don't like cola nuts. I'm like, what? I see, dried uziza leaves. I'm so happy going in, but I never get to buy them because, man, they're expensive. Okay. So there are kind of African shops there. And we have Indians who also import some African goods. Yeah, so they're African shopping. So.
Okay. So now you just talked about the cost of purchasing those things there. Can you also talk a bit about the cost of living in Korea?
Okay. We used to joke amongst ourselves that Korea is one of the best places to live and make money. Actually, living in Korea is, if you are paid well, you can live comfortably well. If you eat in your house,
yes,
you can live comfortably. But if you're the one that cannot cook and you're always buying food outside, except you have different side jobs, it's going to be very different. So basically, life in Korea is affordable, but let me just use myself as an example.
Okay.
Where we are living now, before you move in, you have to pay a key deposit for your house. So in Nigeria, you just pay house rent with 500,000 naira house rent, and that's it. No, but in Korea, you have to pay key deposit, 1 million won or 2 million won. Let me say that like $1,000 or $2,000 key deposit. Every month you have to pay house rent, and it's maybe say $400, so $300, depending on where you are living. So it's room by room. If your house has 2 or 3 rooms, you pay more. If it has just 1 room, you pay less. That's how it is. So let's assume that every month you come back with, let's say, 1.5 million won, which is like $1,200. So you pay your house rent of 400, you pay your gas bill, you pay your phone bill, you pay your electricity bill, gas, or you pay water bill if your landlord is paying water bill. And then at the end of the day, you pay health insurance. At the end of the day, let's say you spend like $700. So you're left with 500, right?
Yeah.
So out of 500, you can use 200 for feeding and save the rest. So let's say affordable. But then if you now have a family, that's when it now becomes difficult because both of you have to work to make it, to sustain yourself. So, but if you're alone and you're working, for me, it's affordable.
Okay, so that is very, very different with what we have here in Nigeria. Okay, so let us also come back to your Nigerian vibe, the Nigerian roots. Okay, so I know that K-pop is also becoming popular now in the world. We have the BTS, they are banging the whole place. So how big is Afro-pop in Korea? Afrobeat, rather. Afrobeat.
Okay. Yeah, Afrobeat, it's not like it's popular, but once in a while when they have, I think it was 2 years ago before the corona, they had this music festival, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure when, but I think some very few Africans came around. It's not a, how do I explain it now? It's not something that freaked about, like how Nigerians are freaked about K-pop. It's not something that I think about. It's something that is still growing. It's not popular. But they are more crazy about the Western music, yeah.
Okay. So again, when they discover you are Nigerian, does it open doors for you? I know you talked about them worshiping, the Americans. Okay.
I'm sorry to say it doesn't open any door.
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
Sometimes it may close the door, but then it depends on who you are talking with. It depends. If you're talking with a Korean who has lived abroad, who has lived in Australia, who has met foreigners, it kind of opens a little door and they ask, oh, please, can you help me with a bit of translation? Can you help me with a bit of help me correct this article? It depends on who you're meeting. But if you're meeting a Korean who has always lived in Korea and has never had contact with foreigners, it doesn't do anything, nothing. Instead, it even makes them close-minded because of how the media has painted us so bad. So they're like, oh, Nigeria, God, run away.
Yeah. So
it just depends on who you're meeting.
Okay, so one thing I know is that every nation has their own challenge, okay? And I understand that there are many, negative perspectives about Nigeria or Nigerians. I always, say it out every time that there are over 200 million people living in Nigeria. So you cannot, because of the bad of maybe not even up to 8% of our population, paint the whole people bad, okay? So the same thing you see in Nigeria, you also see it elsewhere. That is why I say Nigerians to the world. We are striving wherever we go to.
Thank you. And that's why wherever I am, I make them understand that, that whatever you're hearing about Nigeria is not true. Just Nigerian people are warm. I volunteer with this talk show. We go to schools to talk about our countries. Yeah. And when I talk about Nigeria, they always like, wow. Some of them want to go, because of the good things that I said about Nigeria. And because my person, I'm playful, I'm happy, like, Nigerians are this, we don't have stress. And when I'm walking on the road, I'm dancing, singing, like, wow. Then they can be like, wow, yes, that's how we are. No stress in Nigeria. And so they want to come to Nigeria because of the very few people they have met who have, behaved well, who were not scammers, who were not thieves. So there's a woman who's always telling me, when are you going back to your country? I'm like, madam, what's happened? Like, I want to come, invite me. I'm like, yeah, we invite you, but there's Corona, we can't go now.
Sure. And there's this research that says that Nigerians are the most happiest people on earth. Yeah. So if despite of the challenges or difficulties we face, we still remain the most happy people on earth. So now let's talk about tourism. Okay. So if someone visits Korea, or if someone is in Korea, which attraction would you recommend the person to visit?
Let me say this, that Korea in itself is a beautiful country. Korea in itself. So right from the airport, there are tons of things, lots of attractions, I must confess. I live in Incheon, and I have not even finished exploring the things that are in Incheon. Not about going to Seoul, I'm going to Busan, going to Jeju. So for someone coming to Korea, my advice, because you first land in Incheon, where the international airport is, first explore just the airports. There are lots of things in the airport, I'm telling you. Just the airport alone. And then around the airport, there are beaches. Oh my God. Korea is a beautiful country, I must confess.
Wow. That means Korea itself is an attraction.
It's an attraction, yes. Many people are crazy about it because it's an attraction. It is.
Wow, that is interesting, and people could, try to take that adventure to go see that.
Yeah, for me, when I'm stressed, some of the things that distress me just walking around, and sometimes I walk to the park, just the park alone, and see the beautiful flowers, and because Korea is the kind of the rocky nation, they have rocks. It's the way they were very creative in just making their country attractive. So the way they did the rock and everything. So it's very beautiful, just within your environment, you know. Just go there, you're distressed. And then you walk by, you see the flowers, the color, yellow, pink, everything shining with the sunlight. It distresses you, really. It is a beautiful country.
Amazing, amazing.
From my perspective.
Amazing. So what events do Koreans look out to, or that people, when they visit, they should look out for?
Yeah. Okay, you know the Korean house season, the autumn, the spring, the summer, the winter and everything. So right now, we are going to the autumn. And the autumn, we have what they call Chuseok. It's like their Christmas, you know, Christmas holiday. It's going to be September. Okay, basically, they don't do any event, but they have festivals for everything. Like festivals for everything. There was the Buddha's holiday, Buddha's birthday. There's a festival, there's the light candles, there's the mud festival where all of you play in mud. There's the beer festival. There are lots of festivals in Korea. But unfortunately, because of the corona, everything has kind of stopped, but still ongoing. There's very close by, there's how do I explain that? There's the Chinatown. So weekends, during the weekends, they do like when back old, how do you call it now? Is it old, back to olden days, how the olden days was. So the people dressed, yes, you dress like how they were dressed in the olden days, you know, and then you come out, you look at the settlement, because they have these Japanese, Americans, the Europeans who settled in a part of Incheon. So even the houses are still there, like monuments. So, you know, you walk through the streets and people are dancing, people are selling food and, you know, it's fun, taking pictures. So, but Corona has made everything just, you know, but I hope when the Corona is up, that it will start up again. So there are a lot of things, a lot of places to visit in Korea.
Wow.
A lot of festivals.
Koreans love festival and events. And I think that is similar to us in the eastern part of Nigeria. We are so much in love with events, activities, festivals. From January to December, maybe every quarter there must be events, either Easter or Yam Festival or masquerade dance, whatever it is. So that is amazing that there's something similar that's also going on over there. So as we, you know, wind down, what advice would you give to someone who is planning on relocating to Korea?
Let me think carefully and be objective with my answer. Because naturally, when people call me, I receive a lot of calls from people saying they want to come to Korea. And I sit them down and I talk with them. Tell me your plan. Let me know your plan. And when I dissect, I said, coming to Korea will not fit into your plan. But if you're coming to Korea, you really want to come to Korea, my first advice for you is to learn the language. That's the only way you can have a bit of breakthrough. Learn the language. Number two, don't just come to Korea with the mindset of, I want hammer. I don't know if you understand me. Yeah. Let me know because I may have foreigners listening to me. Don't just come with the mindset that I just want to make money. Seek also to make connections in Korea. Don't just come to make money. And when you come to Korea, try to be a good citizen of the country you're representing. Because it's however you behave to them, that's the image they're going to have of your country. And Korean, I'm sorry to say this, but they're kind of close-minded people. They're very close-minded. They're not open-minded. So for them to see you and see the way you act, it's hard for them to like, no, that's not how this other people country. That's how they treat every other person that belongs to your country because they have met you. So 1, learn the language. 2, don't just come to make money. 3, be a good citizen of your country. And I think it's the very most important thing. Know why you want to come. If you want to come as a stepping stone to another place, by all means come. But if you want to come as a way of jackpying, as they call it in Nigeria, I'm sorry to tell you, please, it's not the best place for you to jackpot. Nigerian to the world, right? We're talking to the Nigerians. And I will be dishonest to say this, that, oh, come. No. If you want to come because you want to Japan, do not come, because there is no future for you there. You can come, amass all the money and everything, but you will never be accepted as one of them. Unlike the US, UK, Canada, where you can go, you work, you study 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. There's a possibility of them assimilating you into the system, you know. But here, 20 years, 30 years, you can never be a Korean. Even Koreans who speak English, who speak French, and that Korean don't see them as true Koreans. Because for you to be a true Korean, you should be Korean. So they will find it difficult to associate with Koreans who have lived abroad. They call them Gipo or Gaipo. I don't know how to pronounce it. Gaipo, Gyopo. So Koreans who are bilingual, multilingual, are not even accepted as true Koreans. Not to talk of you who kind of have a dark skin, you know? And yeah. So.
Okay.
I hope I didn't end on a sad note.
No. You just gave out piece of advice to whosoever who is listening or who is watching via YouTube, that these are the things that you need to do. These are the do's and the don'ts that you need to do as you have desire to move over to Asia or in Korea. So this is Nigerians to the world, and we have our able sister, our Nigerian sister, our Niger person, Adaoma Onwukaeme, who has been, leading us on this discussion about what it is like being a Nigerian living in Korea. So Adaoma, before we close, we want you to teach us how to say goodbye in Korea.
안녕하세요.
I'm not even sure if I can get that. Can you take it again?
안녕하세요. Oh, I just say okay, let me just say 안녕. 안녕.
안녕하세요. Bye-bye.